We're now calling you Zeke. Growing up wasn't bad for me. We weren't rich, but I honestly didn't want for too much. My mom was a single mother of 3 boys. She would work countless hours at the aircraft to make ends meet. My big brothers were the only male figures I had to look up to. One is a brain surgeon in California, and one is incarcerated at the state penitentiary. Me, I just happened to fall right in the middle. Although I had everything I needed doesn't mean I didn't have to struggle at all. I will never forget all the times I was chased all the way home from school, or the time they hid my clothes while I was in the shower after gym. But nothing beat the times that I was walking back to school from lunch and about 4 guys wanted to take my shoes. My brother had been teaching me how to defend myself, so I figured this would be a good time to stand my grounds and fight back. "No, I'm not giving you my stuff," I said. Out of nowhere, I felt a punch to the left and the right cheek at the same time. They was kicking my ass so bad I blacked out. Then something changed. I could still hear the fighting, but I wasn't getting hit anymore. When I opened my eyes, I saw 3 guys in all blue saving me. I thought, thank God. One of the guys grabbed me by my hand and helped me up. "Yo, you good?" "Hell no," I say. "I'm John Doe. I'm Ezekiel." "I don't like that shit, so from now on, we calling you Zeke. These 2 boys here is Dre and Lo. Let us know if you need anything," he says. They all shook my hands and went the opposite way as I headed back to the school all bruised up. Now, I was what you would call a nerd, but I did have some street smarts. When I got home that evening, I thought, why would a guy like John Doe want to help me? It didn't take long for me to come up with the answer. Money talks. And if all I had to do was buy my friendship or protection, the neighborhood Crips didn't sound bad at all. That night, I thought about ways I can repay the guys for having my back. I asked my mom for a few extra dollars for lunch. She was skeptical, but gave it to me anyway. School was interesting the next day. I didn't see John Doe until lunch again, but this time it was at school. I went through the line and got my food. And on the way to my table that I sat at daily, I stopped by John Doe, who was standing on the wall, and I handed him the $20 my mom gave me and told him thanks for having my back again. John Doe looked at me, took the money, and continued his conversation like I wasn't standing there. I wasn't sure to be embarrassed or what, so I quickly walked off and sat at my daily spot. About 10 minutes of enjoying my solo lunch, I was not prepared for what I saw next. John Doe, Dre, and Lo were all headed to my table eating their own personal boxes of pizza. That was the first time all year that it was more than just myself and one other person sitting there at once. "So Zeke, tell us about yourself." Over the next several years, the guys and I got pretty tight. Something like a brotherhood. I think the guys were starting to like me as well and wasn't just using me for my money anymore. And for some reason, I started getting even more popular in the school, probably because I was at every party John Doe threw, considering that most of the money came from me. And to be honest, I really didn't care for the spotlight. I was just happy I wasn't getting bullied anymore. When we were juniors in high school is when both of our lives changed drastically. John Doe came to me one day when I was cleaning my uncle's barber shop and told me he needed my help. He explained to me how he was tired of asking me for everything and wanted to start making his own money. He asked if I could loan him $200 and he would pay me back double. I had helped him in the past, but this time he was asking for a lot. $200? How do I come up with that kind of money, man? I said. "I don't know. Talk to your mom or something. You know I'm good for paying you back," he says. Truth is, I really didn't need to talk to my mom about the money. I was working at my uncle's barber shop to save up to buy me a new car. I had money put up. I just wasn't sure if I wanted to risk not getting my $200 back. I told John Doe I'd figure something out and let him know for sure. The next morning came, and I was walking to my bus stop like always, and to my surprise, John Doe was standing there like he was waiting for me. I thought, you've got to be kidding me. "What's up, man? Was you able to get that for me?" I reached in my backpack and handed him the envelope with $200 in it. He thanked me and was halfway down the block within 2 minutes. About a week later, John Doe calls me to meet him at the barber shop. I was hoping he didn't need more money. When I arrived at the shop, John Doe was looking like a whole new person, and he was cheesing from ear to ear. He hadn't been at school lately, but I can tell he was spending a lot of time at the mall. He had on all new everything, from his all blue fitted cap to his all white Air Force Ones. What up, bro? John Doe handed me an envelope with $400 in it and said it was nice doing business with you. I knew John Doe was a man of his word, but I didn't think he was going to repay me so fast. That was our first business deal together, but it for sure wasn't our last. Over time, it was evident that I was his right-hand man. $200 transactions quickly turned into $2,000 transactions. I can tell my mom was starting to worry about me, considering that I was no longer a nerd. I finally grew into my ears, and I really didn't ask her for much of anything anymore. I think the only reason why she never questioned me is because I stayed on A and B honor roll and never did anything to disrespect her house. Over the next several years, John Doe and I made pretty good money together. Unfortunately, the more we made, the more problems we had. It wouldn't be that bad if John Doe wasn't so flashy. I will never forget we had just turned 21 and finally was old enough to make it into the hottest club in the town, Sea Nights. I guess it was only John Doe's nature for him to be pissy drunk while rolling on ecstasy pills. I stayed tipsy enough to fake being happy there. I had to be ready for whatever drunk move John Doe decided to make. He made it rain so much with money in the club that men were starting to pick the money up from the floor, and I knew that couldn't be safe. As I'm walking back to his VIP is when I noticed another drunk guy beside John Doe was starting to pick his money up from the floor. As he bent down to pick up more money, John Doe cracked him over his head with a bottle of Hennessy. Within seconds, it was an all-out club brawl. I managed to grab John Doe through all the people swinging and drug his dead weight to my car. I saw Dre and Lo still swinging to make sure no one hit us while we were heading to the car. We made it to the car, hopped in, and I sped out the parking lot. We got about a mile down the road, and I turned down a back street to make sure we were all straight. Once we made sure no one was hurt, we started laughing so hard at the crazy night we just had. The laughter ended suddenly when the car pulled up beside us with their lights off. The car shot at us 5 times and drove off. At this point, I hear all the guys in the car yelling. I noticed I was hit once in the arm, and I can still drive us to the hospital. About a week later, everyone was released from the hospital. Lo and I had minor injuries. John Doe was inches away from wearing a shit bag for the rest of his life. Dre was paralyzed from waist down. We were all just thankful just to be alive. And I can tell that the situation slowly pulled the group apart, and I pretty much just started to stay to myself, considering that John Doe's lifestyle was starting to be too much for me. We were still brothers, but I just needed my space. About 2 years later, I received a phone call from an inmate at the federal prison. I didn't know who to expect, considering that the only other prisoner in my family was my brother, and he was already in jail. I was shocked to hear John Doe's voice over the phone. He explained to me how he was set up by some new guys on the block he had been hanging with, and I can tell he was still angry. I made sure to check on him throughout his 10-year sentence. When he was released from jail, he called me to come and pick him up. We were excited to see each other after all those years. I can tell jail made him even angrier about life. I took him right to the mall so that he can look like himself when it was time for him to see his family. I also gave him about $3,000 cash to help him get started back in life again. That was my boy and all, but I really didn't want to go back down the same road with his craziness and his wild lifestyle. So I dropped him off at his mom's in Plainview and told him to hit me up whenever he needed me. Last time I saw him was about a week ago. We was at some crazy block party we went to celebrate Lo being back in town to visit. He wanted me to meet with him in person about something that he was having problems with. I told him we could meet up today, so let me pull in here and see what he's talking about.